Congratulations, you finally beat Starfield to completion. All main story, guilds, factions have been conquered by you and your crew. So where does that lead you? Well, we're going to answer that in this video. So let's talk about Starfield's in-game and why I think it's going to be the best we've had in any Bethesda game yet. You see, in Starfield, you have a huge advantage. Unlike the other Bethesda worlds, in Starfield the theme says it all. Exploration. The game world is the in-game, all 1,000 planets. So before we actually go too deep into Starfield, first let's take a walk through memory lane and let's talk about Skyrims InGame. And I think this is going to be a good comparison because even Todd Howard, the God Howard himself, said that you can think of Starfield like Skyrim in space. So in Skyrim, the in-game is basically moving your difficulty slider to legendary, and then doing the procedurally generated quest from whichever faction you choose to. Essentially, you're going to be doing the same dungeon you went to in a previous quest, but this time you've got an alternate reason with maybe, and this is a big maybe, separate baddies to defeat. This system works for what it is. You level up, you might find a couple of good items, probably not by this point in the game, and eventually your character's maxed with everything explored twice over. Let's be real, it's a bit dull. You can really only kill so many bandits out of the same waterfall smuggler's den before you're just done with it. It's a chore, you don't want to do it anymore. So with that being said, it's safe to assume that Starfield's in-game is going to have procedurally generated quests, such as Skyrim's. Continuing where we left off from earlier, Starfield has the potential to give robust quests and tasks at in-game that actually feel new and fresh. Even though they would be the cookie cutter, go X, do Y, retrieve Z, kill Q, whatever, as your environment is going to always be new and unexplored by you. So the chance of being sent to the exact same cave you've been before when there are over 1,000 planets would be relatively small. Of course, play the game enough, be a big enough nerd, and sweat as hard as you can, and you're going to see some duplicates. But that might be thousands of hours before you get these reoccurring places. Do take into consideration not every planet is one that you'll be able to walk on and personally explore. So even assuming there's, let's say, 500 potential full-size planets, that is still more than enough. The sheer scale of it would be grand and a leap and bound over their pre-existing IPs. So we know that Starfield's going to have a vast quest loop to keep you busy at in-game. But ask yourself, what's the freaking point? This is truly where Starfield will shine. So not only are you going to have quests to complete at these planets and places to go, but as far as we know now, you'll always be able to set up settlements and an entire community that will work for you to grow your own resources and wealth. This could change when we get more information, but let's assume that this is where we're at and where we're staying. So on top of that, we know the crafting system is one that will be tiered. Start with a low tier resource like iron that's fairly easy to gather, and then by in-game you are needing super rare and expensive materials to further build, upgrade, and research. The entire part of playing a single player game is so eventually you're so strong and have so many resources the game lags out and you're basically a god to the world. If I want to go in my spaceship and fill it up with plush dolls to lag the entire game and possibly never use this load again, I'll do that because I am finished. I have conquered the game. Now from here on out, we're going to be stepping into speculation territory, my ideas. But I think that all of these systems will be coexisting at in-game to truly make a game that we're going to be playing for another 11 years plus. Obviously, Bethesda's highly motivated to have another cash cow to sell to us 37 different ways. I mean, why wouldn't they be? And I don't even think it in a greedy corporate way, but more in a great game that's replayable, fun, has a good in-game, and something you can just splurge your time on. Because they want us to. And fair enough, they deserve the profits because they spend so much time on their single-player games. Obviously, Fallout 76, we're going to throw that one in the corner. But as far as their single-player games go, they spend loads of time to make sure that we get to as well. Okay, so let me give you a real example of maybe how in-game would play out. Bear in mind, I'm not going to be too specific as I don't want to give fake information. All right, we're still in speculation territory. and we just don't know 100% yet. But this would be how I'm picturing it in a general way. You've beaten the game, all the main side quests, and you are the leader of Crimson Fleet. Your new mission is to grow the fleet and collect bounties on rare animals from across planets. On top of going to these planets to collect the animals or their materials, you also are going to be setting up tons of small, self-sustaining settlements. Planet to planet, area to area. I mean, there could be 20 plus, maybe 100 of them. So that you can always come back for this material later on, and when you need it to craft a new upgrade or whatever. In the grand scheme of space, this totally makes sense. Remember, the theme of Starfield is exploration. You could take this idea and apply it to almost any of the factions in the game, or quest givers that are going to continue after you've beaten their storyline. This would mean that every game feature we have seen will be included in the in-game and always a part. Unlike Skyrim, where once you've maxed smithing and made yourself that super sweet, crisp dragon bone armor and weapons, you just don't use smithing anymore. What is the point? There is not one. You just don't need it. So in Starfield, there of course will be an endpoint where your gear is just completely upgraded and super powerful. But I think we're still going to be able to do things like research small attachments or useful additions. You know, something like a flashlight on your helmet instead of your gun, so you could put another attachment on their gun. Things like that. This same ideology, I think, would go into shipbuilding as well. The further into in-game you are, the larger and grander your ships could be. Now, on a real note, I do think the true in-game of Starfield is the modding potential. But that's a different topic, and it's external from Bethesda, so it didn't really fit this video. So if you want to hear about that, check out my other video. You can click up there for that. But again, we were in speculation mode for the end of this. So if something you're like, we don't know this yet, probably because we were just speculating. A space game is all about exploring and colonizing the constellation. So for all these reasons, I think we're going to truly get a next-gen space RPG experience that we have yet to see in any other Bethesda world. Let me know in the comments what you think about how the end game is going to work. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked. Sub for more content to come soon. Peace!